The Ottoman Empire, one of the most powerful empires in the world, had a treasure trove of sacred books and manuscripts thanks to its conquests. What if I told you that these lost texts, which are not taught in schools, could completely change known history? Before we move on to the video, we need to ask ourselves some questions. What secrets do the lost books of the Ottoman Empire really hold? Why are these texts so important? What secrets does the Süleymaniye Library hold? To better understand these mysteries, we first need to look at Ottoman culture. The rise of the Ottoman Empire. Mehmet the Conqueror not only conquered Constantinople, he also wanted to claim the lost scientific heritage of the West. Having texts and manuscripts that had been lost in the West for centuries on Ottoman soil was not just a military victory, but a cultural and scientific conquest. Mehmet the Conqueror's aim was to collect scientific and cultural knowledge from the West and bring it to the Ottoman Empire. Contrary to popular belief, Mehmet the Conqueror was not only a conquering leader, but also one of the leading scientists of his time. Of course, scientific developments in the Ottoman Empire were not limited to Mehmet the Conqueror, but he was an important figure who brought this heritage to his country. During his reign, the Ottoman Empire made great advances in fields such as medicine, astronomy, mathematics, and philosophy. Fatih coveted the lost works of the West, but his efforts to preserve the Ottoman scientific heritage were also remarkable. The Ottoman Empire not only collected knowledge from both the East and the West, but also preserved it. The Ottoman effort to preserve the legacy of books and written texts was admirable. For example, the libraries, madrasas, and palaces in Istanbul were important centers of scholarly activity, indicating the cultural and intellectual level of the period. Sultan Mehmet the Conqueror, after conquering Istanbul, brought together many scholars and revitalized the intellectual life of the city. Arabic, Persian, Turkish, and Latin works coexisted in libraries, and courses in different fields such as astronomy, mathematics, and medicine were taught in madrasas. However, there was not only a military strategy behind these efforts, but also a cultural and scientific interaction. At the same time as the Ottoman Empire searched for lost artifacts from the West, it also embraced ancient knowledge and manuscripts from the East. This was an effort to build a scientific bridge between the West and the East. Behind the lost artifacts and texts lies a truly astonishing mystery. The many important books that disappeared from both Western and Ottoman sources range from scientific texts to religious texts. The reasons for their disappearance range from wars, fires, natural disasters, and sometimes deliberate destruction. But were there unknown texts of early versions or alternative interpretations of the Bible among these artifacts? While you hit the like button, I'll start telling you. The mystery of the Holy Bibles. There are some books in the history of the world for which there are traces of their existence, but they do not exist. Could the lost versions of the Bible be one of them? More importantly, how is the Ottoman Empire connected to these lost texts? It is actually very simple to understand. There were many ancient cities under Ottoman rule: Istanbul, Jerusalem, Antioch, Nicaea. These were not only centers of political power, but also holy sites that played a major role in the history of early Christianity. The Council of Nicaea in particular played a critical role in shaping the Bible as we know it today. But historians say that some versions of the Bible were lost or deliberately destroyed during this period. So could the Ottomans have had access to these lost texts? As I mentioned earlier, Mehmet the Conqueror was not only a conqueror, but also a ruler with a deep academic curiosity. After the conquest of Istanbul, Hagia Sophia and the Byzantine monasteries came under Ottoman control. These monasteries contained ancient manuscripts, theological texts, and ancient books. Fatih had some of these texts translated by special translators and carefully kept them in his own library. Some historians claim that the conqueror may have had access to lost Christian manuscripts from Byzantium and early versions of the Bible, but the fate of these works still unknown. But did the Ottomans only keep the lost texts of this Christian world? Of course not. The expanding borders of the Ottoman Empire gave it access to lost texts not only from the Christian world, but also from the Jewish and Islamic worlds. In the 16th and 17th centuries, Ottoman scholars accessed ancient manuscripts from Jerusalem and Egypt and preserved them in state archives and private libraries. But if the Ottomans did indeed possess the lost Bible versions, why have these books never seen the light of day? Two theories come into play here. One, could the Ottomans have hidden these books? Researchers believe that the Ottomans kept some of the Christian texts in their possession secret because they could contain critical information about the historical connections between Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. 2. Could these books have been lost? During the fall of the Ottoman Empire, many libraries were looted, and some manuscripts were smuggled to Europe. If the Ottomans even had such biblical texts, they may have been captured by Western researchers in the 19th century. But what if the Ottomans actually had a different version of the Bible, alternative Christian texts, or banned manuscripts? Where are these books? Could they be stored in one of the greatest academic centers of the Ottoman Empire, such as the Suleymaniye Library? Or are they among the artifacts smuggled to Europe during the late Ottoman period? The answers to these questions remain a mystery, but there is one thing we do know. Throughout its history, the Ottoman Empire was not only an empire, but also a center of lost knowledge. Lost books in the Ottoman Empire. Before we move on to the episode, we need to examine some questions. What kind of secrets are hidden behind the lost books? Is it just a coincidence that these texts from the Ottoman Empire have disappeared? Or were they deliberately destroyed to hide the greatest secrets of history? Let us answer them one by one. Some historians suggest that the lost books of the Ottoman Empire may have contained extremely dangerous information, not only religious, but also political and philosophical. In particular, Christian texts and Jewish manuscripts that disappeared under the influence of the Islamic world were perhaps writings that exacerbated tensions between East and West. These books were perhaps the kind of text that could have triggered interreligious conflicts or revolutionary ideas. In other words, they were not only historical, but perhaps they had content that could shake the social order. So did the Ottomans deliberately hide this information? A more interesting theory is that the lost books contained important information that could rewrite world history. These books were full of secrets, not only about religious beliefs, but also about the missing links in human history. According to some theories, the Ottomans had books containing ancient Egyptian knowledge, Babylonian texts, or lost manuscripts of ancient Greek philosophers. These books contained information that could unlock the secrets of lost civilizations, the lost scriptures of Babylon, the sacred books of Egypt, the lost chapters of Greek philosophy. All of them were perhaps gathered together in the Ottoman archives. So let's ask the question in all your minds once again. Why did the Ottomans hide all this? There are various theories as to why the Ottomans hid such valuable information from the public. According to some, it was feared that these books could trigger a powerful social change or change the international balance of power. Was the Ottoman government's choice to hide these books a deliberate move to conceal them? Let us take a closer look at this. Some researchers argue that the disappearance of the lost books was a deliberate erasure. These books were texts that were once used by proponents of different belief systems. Although the Ottoman Empire was a multicultural society, there were deep divisions, especially between Christianity and Islam. The lost books could have led to the merging and blending of these two religions, leading to greater understanding. One example of this is the smuggling of some lost manuscripts to Europe in the late Ottoman period. These manuscripts may have been deliberately hidden and later hidden in Western countries such as Britain, France, and Germany, where they were presented to the Western world. Some 20th century discoveries show that the lost books of the Ottoman Empire were smuggled to the West, and only a few manuscripts are still accessible today. Now let's take a look at some popular conspiracy theories. 1. The secret links between Islam and Christianity. Many theories argue that the lost books could reveal deep connections between both Islam and Christianity. These books may perhaps clarify the historical parallels and mutual influences of both religions. The possession of such knowledge could shake societies to a great extent. 2. Lost fragments of world history. Another theory suggests that the lost books contain texts that could unlock the secrets of ancient civilizations. These books may carry clues about the culture of the lost civilizations. Lost texts on the Babylonian, Egyptian, and Persian empires are still being sought by historians today. Final. In conclusion, the reason for hiding the lost books and the conspiracy theories behind them is one of the greatest mysteries of human history. These books carry not only religious secrets, but perhaps the lost links of human history, ancient knowledge, and dangerous teachings. So why did these books disappear? Did the Ottomans deliberately hide them, or did world powers make them disappear? Is it inevitable that the hidden knowledge will one day be revealed, or is it doomed to be lost forever? If these books are indeed hidden somewhere, could their discovery change the course of history? Perhaps the answer is closer than we think. So, do you think these secrets should come to light? Share your thoughts in the comments. See you in my next video. Goodbye.